In pro wrestling, a lot of times a good storyline builds up to a highly anticipated match, and then the story is one and done. But a great storyline can run that match back again to a rematch because either the first match was so good, or that the story is so good that the fans demand it again. Not always can a rematch live up to the hype though, and to have a great rematch you have to have great storytellers. You can run a match back over and over again, but you have to have something special between the opponents for a second, third, or even fourth match between the two to make it feel special. Hey guys, it's Tim and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here with our top 5 best rematches in pro wrestling history. We asked you guys to give us your thoughts on what you thought were the best rematches ever in pro wrestling. We then took your top 5 suggestions, put them up on a poll on our YouTube community channel, and let you guys pick the order of how these should go. Kicking it off with number 5, getting 5% of the votes, it's John Cena vs. The Rock from WrestleMania 29. Once in a lifetime is what the first John Cena vs. The Rock match was billed, and then, well, it happened again a year later. After promoting the first match as such, once in a lifetime, WWE followed what they had done for 4 years previously. They ran Shawn Michaels vs. The Undertaker twice in a row. They then ran Triple H vs. The Undertaker twice in a row. And then, they ran Cena vs. The Rock twice in a row. After The Rock pinned John Cena at WrestleMania 28 in the most promoted match in WWE history, the match was actually set up exactly 1 year prior. The path to WrestleMania 29 for both men was really not known, but they got there and they upped the stakes as well. Just months before WrestleMania 29, CM Punk was setting records as the WWE Champion. Instead of featuring Punk and his lengthy title reign in the main event of WrestleMania, WWE decided to change course. We would come out of the Royal Rumble with The Rock defeating CM Punk to become the new WWE Champion, and John Cena would emerge as the winner of the Royal Rumble. This then set up the rematch that we all didn't know we wanted in John Cena challenging The Rock not only for redemption, but for the WWE Championship. In not knowing that we wanted this match, Rock vs. Cena 2, it failed to attract a quarter of the interest that the first match actually did. The major intrigue was really just not there. The match itself was a great match, delivering every step of the way. Both men went out of their way to the thought process of having one of the best match of either's career. Unfortunately, The Rock would sustain a hernia injury in the match and have to tough through it through most of the match. Each man gave the other their biggest moves, but they kept kicking out. Seemingly, after multiple attitude adjustments and multiple rock bottoms, The Rock would hit a DDT, but not go for the pin. It looked like Cena was down, but Rock thought he needed more. He instead lifted up Cena for a 4th rock bottom, and Cena countered it into an attitude adjustment for the victory. The image of The Rock endorsing a victorious Cena after the match is a great passing of the torch moment. Just because The Rock was gone for so long, he was still received and thought of as one of the best of all time, and this was his way of saying, hey, Cena's on that list, and he may be the best at what we do right now. Coming in at number 4 with 7% of the votes is Triple H vs. The Undertaker at WrestleMania 28. Billed as an end of an era match, Triple H and Undertaker's match at WrestleMania 28 was just another epic battle in Taker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. The year prior, Undertaker was coming off 2 industry-defining matches with Triple H's best friend, whose career Undertaker had ended. Undertaker and Triple H met at WrestleMania 27 in their second WrestleMania match with Triple H wanting to avenge the losses of Michaels. Hunter was unable to do so at WrestleMania 27 and then upped the stakes the next year. At WrestleMania 28, they added the menacing Hell in a Cell structure that had been attached to both men's career for over a decade and a half. Not only was the match inside the cell, but to make things even harder on Undertaker, Triple H appointed his best friend and the man whose career Taker ended just 2 years prior, Shawn Michaels, as the special guest referee. The match brought you on a roller coaster ride like so little have done before. It made you jump out of your seat. It made you gasp. It made you think, hey, this could be the end of the streak, especially when Michaels super kicked Undertaker into a pedigree by Triple H, only for the dead man to kick out. In the end, it was the dead man picking up the victory as he had done at WrestleMania 27 times before, but this time it almost wasn't so. At the end of the match, Undertaker needed to be helped out of the ring and up the ramp to the back, and he was helped by the two men that were just his foes, Triple H and Shawn Michaels. The big question everyone really does ask though coming out of this match is, what era did this really end? Over the last 7 years, we have seen both Triple H and Undertaker still have matches in WWE, even one together against each other in 2018, and we've seen others from their era return to WWE in the ring. Coming in at number 3 with 9% of the votes, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin vs. The Rock at WrestleMania 19. One of the greatest rivalries in all of pro wrestling history may have to be Stone Cold Steve Austin vs. The Rock. When these two first started working together in the late 90s, both men were on the rise. Austin had been in wrestling for almost a decade and finally was seen as a top guy, while The Rock was the new hot thing in the business. The two had their first big match together at WrestleMania 15. 2 years later, a classic rematch at WrestleMania 17, and then 2 years after that, another great match, which was the final match of their WrestleMania trilogy at WrestleMania 19, and few knew going into this that it would be Austin's last match. When WrestleMania 19 rolled around in 2003, The Rock's career in Hollywood was slowly starting to take off, and Austin was about to say goodbye to in-ring action. The two had been linked together for most of their WWE careers and would go out and deliver a match full of reversals, counters, drama, and everything else you would want in a classic pro wrestling match. Inside Safeco Field in Seattle, Washington, fans stood on their feet for most of this match, not knowing that this match almost did not take place due to Austin's threatening health issues. In the end, Austin would finally put over The Rock at WrestleMania, as in the two prior WrestleMania matches, Austin had picked up the victory. As The Rock covered Austin and the referee counted 3, you can see on camera The Rock sit up and tell Austin, who was laying on his back, that he loved him as this historical rivalry came to a close. Coming in at number 2 with 25% of the votes, it's Kazuchika Okada vs. Kenny Omega from Dominion 2018. In 2016, Kenny Omega emerged from the light heavyweight division to the heavyweight division on a mission to prove that he was the best wrestler in the world. He had won and lost the Intercontinental Championship earlier in the year, but came out in the summer months winning the G1 Climax tournament with an opportunity at the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Leading up to Wrestle Kingdom 11, the story was who was the best in the world, the champion Kazuchika Okada or the challenger Kenny Omega. On this night, Omega was unable to best the Rainmaker and capture the title. Omega would get another shot at Okada and the title in June at Dominion, where this time Omega was not defeated, but the two wrestled to a 60-minute time limit draw, and the title stayed with Okada. Over the next year, Omega was set out to prove that he should be the top guy in New Japan Pro Wrestling by beating some of the best in the company. Then 1 year later, after his time limit draw, Omega got another shot. This time with the title on the line, it was a 2 out of 3 falls match with no time limit. Early in the match, both men tried to get the first fall, with Omega hitting an amazing dive to the outside and Okada hitting a tombstone pile driver on the apron. Okada would earn himself the first fall and go up 1-0 on Omega. Down but not out, Omega would rally back, with thinking at one point he had the fall won by countout, but Okada barely made it back in the ring before the 20 count. It took Omega hitting a V-trigger, double underhook pile driver, another V-trigger, and a one-winged angel to pick up the second fall, tying it at 1 apiece. As soon as the third and final fall started, Omega rushed at the champion with a V-trigger, but then Okada countered a one-winged angel into a Rainmaker clothesline. Omega would then try everything to defeat Okada, from hitting the Styles Clash, the Phoenix Splash, multiple V-triggers, and finally one final one-winged angel to pick up the victory and become the heavyweight champion for the first time. Some have said that this is one of the best pro wrestling matches of the last decade, and in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it was the first and only match to earn 7 stars, 2 more than the normal 5-star limit. This was actually the second time that an Okada and Omega match topped the 5-star limit. And finally, your number 1 ranked rematch with 55% of the votes running away with it, it's Shawn Michaels vs. The Undertaker from WrestleMania 26. The story of The Undertaker vs. Shawn Michaels goes back decades. At one point, many thought Michaels' career was ended in a match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 1998. Going into WrestleMania 25, there were a number of men who wanted to challenge The Undertaker at WrestleMania and try to end the streak. Michaels was in an interesting storyline with John Bradshaw Layfield where JBL was kind of the boss of Michaels until Michaels finally defeated JBL to earn what some may call his freedom and the right to challenge The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Long story short, Michaels would also have to defeat Vladimir Kozlov, who challenged The Undertaker, and then he was finally able to move on into one of, if not the greatest, WrestleMania matches of all time, but also some may say one of the greatest pro wrestling matches of all time, where The Undertaker would go on to defeat Michaels at WrestleMania 25. Over the next year, the loss weighed heavily on Michaels, and he said defeating Undertaker at WrestleMania was the only thing he was not able to accomplish in his career and wanted another shot. At first, Undertaker denied Michaels a rematch at WrestleMania 26 until Michaels said if he cannot defeat The Undertaker at WrestleMania, then there is no need for his career to continue. Undertaker then dropped the ultimate ultimatum. He would grant Michaels his rematch, but with him having his streak on the line, Michaels needed to put something on the line as well, his career. Michaels would accept, and the match was on. The two went into WrestleMania 26 in a no disqualification match and again tore the house down at WrestleMania in Phoenix, Arizona. With what the stakes were and how big this match was, this was actually the main event of the night over the WWE Championship match against John Cena and Batista. This match was an emotional one, not just for the people watching at home, but also the two men in the ring. Michaels would refuse to stay down. Undertaker would hit him with big move after big move, and Michaels kept on going, barely able to stand. At one point, Undertaker told Michaels, just stay down. Instead, Michaels would taunt Undertaker with his own throat-slashing taunt and slap him across the face. This would enrage the dead man, who hit Michaels with a jumping tombstone, the third tombstone piledriver of the match, to pick up the victory and end the long history-storied career of HBK Shawn Michaels. So with that, those were your guys' top 5 rematches in pro wrestling history. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on these 5 matches making the list and where you guys voted for them. But that's going to do it for this episode of Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Remember to comment below, like and share this video, like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and subscribe right here on YouTube.